After Hamas attacked Israel 4 months ago, some claimed that these terrorists were using crypto as a primary funding mechanism for their operations. Through hearings and confidential briefings, this committee has heard from the intelligence community, blockchain experts, and law enforcement, and we have a much better understanding of the scope and scale of crypto's role in terror finance. While the reactionary claims proved to be greatly exaggerated in the case of Hamas and Gaza, it's still important for us to identify and close any potential gaps that can be exploited by criminals and terrorists. Just yesterday, here in this room, Undersecretary Nelson testified that bad actors still prefer to use traditional finance rather than digital assets. He also confirmed prior reports that successful international collaboration with Israeli law enforcement had limited Hamas's use of digital assets ahead of the attack against Israel. Today, this committee seeks to understand the tools that law enforcement have to go after bad actors using crypto, as well as learn what, if any, gaps exist in those law enforcement authorities. Just last week, the Financial Times reported that Iran used 2 of the United Kingdom's largest banks to evade sanctions, which just goes to show again that terrorists will use any means necessary, cash or crypto, to accomplish their means. The fact remains that the transparency of a public blockchain provides law enforcement with critical data about illicit actors and their networks so that they can be gone after. Much of this success can be attributed to the partnerships between law enforcement and blockchain analytic firms. As bad actors become more proficient, regulators and law enforcement officials must continue increasing their own capabilities and expertise. But let's be clear, much of the illicit financing through digital assets doesn't take place here in the United States. It's done offshore in obviously non-compliant, rogue jurisdictions. The borderless nature of blockchain technology necessitates international cooperation. Today, we will examine what can be done to reinforce the set of tools that FinCEN, OFAC, and the Department of Justice possess. Members on both sides of the aisle are interested in finding solutions. This hearing, the legislation noticed, build off last year's efforts in both our stablecoin and market structure legislation. We must ensure that there's a functional regulatory framework in place so that digital asset companies operate within the United States and subject themselves to our laws. Last summer, this committee passed bipartisan legislation that would do just that. Today, we're fortunate to have an incredible lineup of witnesses to examine our current capabilities to hold bad actors accountable. I want to thank each of our panelists for being with us today. We appreciate your willingness to provide your expertise and your testimony. I look forward to continuing our work with my good ranking member, Mr. Lynch, the members of this subcommittee, so that we can use our time in search of solutions to combat illicit use of digital assets.